Hi students, I hope you're doing well this week. This week we're working on momentum, and notice in the news that we have an impulse momentum lab that can be found in the class. It's written by a CCC online instructor. So you go to content, to the appropriate module, click exploration, and you'll find the impulse momentum lab. Now we also have a conservation of momentum lab, which I'm going to talk about in this video, and these directions are found in the lab manual. Very important. Notice that I've pulled the PVK video. You do not need to make a potential versus kinetic energy video. I think I've pulled all reference to this lab out of the class, except it still exists in the grade book as having 0 points. So please do not do the potential versus kinetic energy lab. Alright, so let's talk about conservation of momentum. I want to show you what I do to prepare for grading, and I think this will help you to be efficient and effective with your lab work. Okay, so I open the lab manual. Table 3 is the table of contents. I find the lab, and I start by reading the entire lab. Should never start anything without reading the directions. I think you learned that in kindergarten, but it is something that we all forget. The first thing to note is the materials. Do you need to buy anything special? Okay, you don't have to have anything special on hand for this lab, although it would be helpful to have someone keep time for you. Okay, now to get on to making the key here. So I open a blank Excel document and I start building a key. This key is filled with information that comes straight from the lab manual. So I start with the discussion and review, and I pick up sentences from the discussion and review that I think are valuable to my learning. Okay, so I've done that over here. All of these statements here are pulled straight from the lab manual. Okay, this is the primary information you need. Then I go through the procedures, I read them, see if they're making sense to me. Okay, sometimes there's still more important stuff in the procedures, like I've noted here that there are 3 questions in the procedures that you're supposed to write down, and I will look for those when I'm grading. In procedure 10, 11, and 12, it says note your results, or how do they compare. Okay, then when we get down here to part 2, there's some reiteration of equations that you could pick up to help you in your process. Now the lab report assistant. I do not want to accept lab report assistants where you have written in by hand the information and then scanned it back in for me. I much prefer that you create an electronic document. This is more professional, and I'm going to show you why it's helpful to you and saves you time in the long run. So just like I did with the text, I select information from the table and I rebuild the tables over here in Excel. Okay, I put margins on them, borders, okay, so they look nice when I drop them into Word. And I'm also looking to make sure that the tables make sense. So for table 1, I built this table. Looks good. Now I'm going to come over to Word here. I'm going to select the entire table, right-click copy, right-click paste, and drop my table right into Word. It looks really professional, and it is not a recreation of the table using the table function in Word. Okay, now with table 2, I'm going to show you 2 things. I'm going to show you how to make equations, and I'm going to show you some very important changes that you need to make to this table for it to make more sense. Okay, so momentum is conserved. That's one of the main concepts we're trying to understand in this lab. that the movement of all the marbles and the velocity is conserved between the marbles you put down the ramp and the marbles that are sitting on the ruler, okay? So m sub 1 v sub 1 is equal to m sub 2 v sub 2. So momentum of the first marble times the velocity of the first marble is equal to the momentum of the second marble times the velocity of the second marble. Okay, so let's get on to making an equation in Excel. When you want to make an equation, you start with an equal sign. But I'm noticing right away that I don't have enough data here in this table. I need to change this table. I need to add a column for distance. Okay, there's no distance here. And this is the distance that you're going to record on the ruler that the marble has moved. Okay. Okay. So then, I'm going to come down here, equals distance divided by time. So I'm going to click in the distance cell, F19, divided by the time cell, E19, equals. Now it says divide by 0. This is a warning sign. It's just telling me that there's no data in here, okay? So I'm going to add data in here. Now look, my equation filled in for me. 2 divided by 4 equals 0.5. Alright? Now we're going to do the same thing here for the momentum equation. Velocity times mass. Okay? And there's no data in here yet, so I still get 0. Just put 6 in here. Okay? Should add some units. Okay. So now I'm just going to put some superfluous data in here, okay? There's no, this is not right. Do not submit this. Just putting numbers in here to show you something. Okay. Alright. Now look, I can click on the cell where I built the equation. I can go into the lower right corner and I can drag that equation through my entire data set. Okay? And the math equation is being done for me. Right? Now, if you drag it out and the number that results looks like this, you need to change that. That's too many significant figures. And we learned that in an earlier lab. So up here, I'm going to decrease the decimal. Okay? And there you have it. Then you can pick this up, copy it into Word, and answer your questions, and be done with your experiment. I hope this is helpful to you. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to seeing you in discussions.